I used to only be interested in the classics, like, if it wasn't Moby Dick or Ulysses, I probably wasn't gonna read it. I wanted the best wisdom culture had to offer. I was above all those local writers celebrating their first book of short stories at age 65 or their dysfunctional life on the plains. I wanted literary heavyweights like Ernest Hemingway and Hunter S. Thompson. If he, she, or it wasn't vetted by years of academia, then they'd better have a cult following like early Magnus Mills if you wanted me to see their work. So I ignored a lot of good books, and even worse, I ignored a lot of good advice from people I figured couldn't even understand Moby Dick. Like from truckers, lunch ladies, people whose fingernails were crusted with truth. Because I thought only the celebrated ones mattered, only the anointed ones, only the blurbed and footnoted had anything to offer. Now, I've changed my tune, got a little rust on my soul. Maybe it's the rapidly changing technological world we're entering, the AI hellscape yawning before us, that has damaged my understanding of who I am and what I want in life, identity crisis in full swing, but I've fallen hard for the most underrated kind of books you can find. Yeah, now I read farm wife memoirs, books written by what I'd used to call old biddies, like Marjorie Myers Douglas from Appleton, Minnesota. She farmed through the 1940s and 50s, she put up with an overpowering father-in-law, she raised sheep, she canned fresh corn from the garden, she prayed, she waited. I savored her book, eggs in the coffee, sheep in the corn, and could barely get myself to finish it, like holding onto your sister at the train station before she departs into the fading sunset forever. When I saw Marjorie's photo on the last page, pictured with her husband who is also heavily featured in the book, they'd been married 50 years, their wrinkles in their faces nearly wrinkled the paper it was printed on, both of them, already dead for years, and I just sat there, completely shattered. That was it. That was the last thing she'd ever say to me. I was wrecked for days. I can't wallow in it though. It's nostalgia, maybe an oncoming midlife crisis, maybe a lack of vitamin D issue. But the sentiment that troubles me most is why I'm frothing at the mouth to read more about a farm wife canning corn. It's not just farm wife memoirs for me though. I wonder about my parents in ways I never used to. What did they do in those long winters before kids? Did they stare at the wall, count snowflakes? Listen to the eternal whipping wind and wonder if life would ever really begin? I used to think most of the world wasn't worth paying attention to. Now I know the world was Marjorie, and my mom, and whoever kept going, quietly, without applause. I want to know every single detail, every town, every farmstead floating over the rolling hills. I want to know what their life was like. Enough of the egos and personalities. Problem is, the details take my breath away, overwhelm me, creep into my life from all angles, so that even when I take a walk near the lake or a field of corn, I can't help but feel all of those who stepped before me, the weight on their shoulders, the mud under their feet. Maybe it's time I took up a new hobby like Scrabble, or jumped on a ship to go a whaling, to see the watery parts of the world instead of seeing the world through watery eyes.